7:10. Pledge of allegiance, please. Actually, we'll roll call. We don't have a secretary?
That clock's 4 minutes fast. So.
It is fast.
Yeah, so it's really only 6 after.
That's all right. We'll go with it.
All right.
We need a secretary. Do I have anybody that wants to step up?
I'll do it. Oh, we actually have the roll to call. Wow,
We do.
that's even better. Okay, Maurice LaRosa.
Here?
Andrew Urbanowitz here. Mary Ann Turner, she's absent. Charlie Mastroberti.
Here.
Kelly Davis, absent. Robert Kwasnicki.
Here.
Catherine Plopper.
Here.
And Richard Stroini.
Let's see. I have Catherine and Richard will be voting as regular members tonight. In lieu of not having a full board of commissioners. All right. Fire evacuation, 2 means of egress out of the council chambers. First one is to our left, your right, down the stairs, or through the double doors, down the stairs, out into the parking lot. The second one is behind you, in front of us, out the double doors behind you, out into the parking lot. And that's it. Pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do I have a motion to move items number 5, 6, and 7, or 5 and 6 to the bottom of the order?
So moved.
Second.
Made by Kathy, seconded by Mr. Kwasnicki. All in favor, roll call, please.
Sure. Kathy Plopper.
Yes.
I should take it in this order, right? Is that what I'm supposed to do?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
As long as they're all read.
Okay. Well, we'll go in the order you're seated. Charlie Mastroberti.
Yes.
Maurice LaRosa.
Yes.
Andrew Urbanowitz, yes. Robert Kwasnicki.
Yes.
Rich Stroini.
Okay. Legal notice.
The Enfield Zoning Board of Appeals will hold public hearings on Monday, October 25th, 2021 at 7 p.m. in the Enfield Council Chambers, Town Hall, 820 Enfield Street, Enfield, Connecticut, concerning the following. ZBA number 2021-09-24, 51 Burnham Street. Variance request from section 3.30.4.b to allow more than one accessory structure. Anthony Messina, owner/applicant, map 52, lot 278, R33 zone. Dated this 13th day of October 2021, Maurice LaRosa, chairman, and Mary Ann Turner, secretary.
Is the applicant here? Could you come forward, please? Come forward and state your name and address for the record. While they're coming up, I'll explain how things are going to be done for business tonight. The applicant will speak. The board may or may not have questions of the applicant. We will then turn it over to the participants in the audience. They'll have a chance to speak. If anybody speaks, the applicant will have final say in the matter before we close the hearing. All right? And then let me read this little housekeeping statement. A variance can be granted where such a grant will not affect the overall purpose of a zoning ordinance, and where strict interpretation of the ordinance will result in a hardship. A hardship exists where the zoning ordinance uniquely affects a parcel of land differently from other parcels, and where use of the property or reasonable use of the land would be impossible without the variance. Self-imposed or financial hardships cannot by law be considered as a reason for granting a variance. Go ahead with your application, please.
Okay. 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 Oh,
And please state your name for the record.
It was on.
Oh, it was?
There you go.
Okay.
okay.
State your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Anthony Messina. I live at 51 Burnham Street, and
I'm Mary Messina. I'm his spouse.
Go ahead and just explain to us what you're here for tonight.
okay. On May 22nd of the year 2000, the town of Enfield granted me a building permit for a second shed on my property. It was permit number 20579. About a month ago, I had to remove the first shed, which we had added to the property 42 years ago. And so we had to take this shed down about a month ago because after 40 years, the floor was rotted and it was was falling apart. So I went to Planning and Zoning and asked for a permit for the new shed, for replacing that shed, and they had told me that I didn't need a permit, but needed a variance because it was a second shed. I had mentioned that I already had a permit for the two sheds that were there, but they had told me that they didn't have any record of it. So I'm here today applying for a variance for the shed that I just took down a month ago.
Because we want to replace
Because
it.
we want to replace it, because the reason why we have two sheds is because we really need two sheds. We're seniors, and we have, and we're active seniors, really, and we have outside patio furniture, we have a pool. I don't know if you have the plan of it, there's a pool there. So we have ladders and pumps and all kinds of stuff that
Patio furniture
and patio furniture, and that we have to get down in my basement, and it's not an easy thing
Right.
at our age to do. It's not even safe to do it. And we're at the point right now where really we need that second shed. Now, had I known that I would have had to gone through all of this, I would have just rebuilt the shed. So that's where we're at right now. This is a hardship, like it hits everyone, especially the ones that take care of they maintain their own lawns. They do everything themselves. You have to have some serious equipment to do it. And then with the serious equipment, you need to put it somewhere. You have to store it. And we take care of our yard. Our patio furniture, we don't want to leave it out there. And it's heavy. And
and I have back problems, and
my wife has back problems, so she
so I
can't
can't lift.
help me
Down
with
there.
it. And try to get somebody to help you carry that stuff down in your basement through the hatchway. It's not an easy thing, and everybody's got their own things to do. So that's where we're at right now. And we're looking for help. We'd like to have the second shed reinstated so we can get all the stuff that was in that shed that's in our yard out in the rain right now back inside. That's where we're at. We got the lawnmowers, we got the leaf blower outside, and some bicycles outside, and it's raining. It's supposed to get some heavy rain tonight. And
We really don't like to leave.
we don't
things out the
do
back.
that. We don't like to do that. But the shed was, after 40 years, it was just really unsafe. And we says we just had to take it down. So I guess we're just looking for some help to get us to get this variance, the second shed approved, so that we can go on with our lives. Now, it's like.
Any questions of the board?
Yeah, I have a question.
Go ahead.
So you keep saying second shed, but really, it'll be your only shed. You took the other one down already, correct?
Yes, we took I took the
One down.
other one down because it was 40-something years old. It was falling apart. All the flooring was rotted. So at first I thought about, well, I could just rebuild it. And then it's just, we're at the point right now, we'd just like to buy it, have somebody drop it on the lot, on some stone, and then we can go on with our lives. So that's what happened.
Thank you.
I have a question. I think it's more for Lori. Lori, on the paperwork, there's a reference that we received the paperwork, proposal quoting the regulation, only one single-family dwelling and accessory building may be erected on a non-conforming lot located in a residential zone. Is this lot non-conforming?
Yes, it's a non-conforming lot, and they had two accessory structures. He took one down and would like to replace it, but it's going in a different location, it's a different size. So,
Oh, that's what's making it
yeah.
non-conforming?
Well, no, the lot is non-conforming, and with a non-conforming lot, you're only supposed to have one accessory structure. I don't know where that came from, but that's what the rules say. But quite honestly, if he were to attach this to the house, he'd be able to,
Right.
so.
What makes it non-conforming?
The size of the lot, it doesn't meet the R33 standards.
Okay. Sir, on the left-hand side, there, it looks like a garage, but is that item, is that one of those steel posts with a canvas covering type of,
I'm sorry.
the one that's existing on the left side of your property?
As you're facing the house,
Right, correct. To the left of the pool.
this is the second storage shed that we had, that we have a permit for, just like the first one we have a permit for. And it's not enough. It isn't, and it's because we don't pay people to do things like, we don't have landscapers, we don't have that, so we have equipment.
Right.
And that's what it comes down to. There's different types of people. People have different lifestyles, and we're very active, and we like to do everything ourselves.
But that one structure, it is, I'm just trying to understand what it looks to me from just a picture that it's, has like those
It-
posts, and then there's like a
Oh, no, it's
canvas.
actually, an asphalt shingled roof.
Oh, okay.
It's a 12 by, it's a 12 by 24 shed. We got from Coda Farms. They just dropped it off, and when we went for the permit, we had to, because of the size, we had to, they asked us to put these pilings. There's like maybe, I don't know, 3, 6, 9, 12. If my memory serves me right, there were 12 pilings. The town had to come out, and they had to check the depth before the posts were filled with cement and everything. So the whole thing was and so that's, and we didn't even know up until about a month ago that this was a non-conforming lot, because when we bought the house
Something years ago.
40-something years ago, no, if somebody said it was non-conforming, we probably would have moved. We probably wouldn't have bought it. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I don't know, but
Yeah, I'm sorry, that may have come after you bought it. I
It
don't
wasn't
know.
non-conforming back then.
Yeah,
So
it
that's
probably was conforming at that point, so.
and so, and also, we didn't know that you're only allowed one shed. So this would be a hardship for us, because 20 years we had 2 sheds. And it's even not easy with that. We still have to move this equipment around, but we don't have to take it down to our basement. In the hatchway, it's a dangerous thing, and to be quite frankly, I can't do it anymore. And I don't want to risk it, because you take one fall and you're done, especially when you're,
Right.
I'm 75 years old, I gotta be careful.
And I can't do it either.
And she can't do it
Back
either.
problems.
And, so we're at the point where we've been in Enfield for this long because we love it. And we have great neighbors. I know there's nobody vouching for us, but we do have great neighbors, and that kept us there.
Lori, do you know when that regulation was put in?
I honestly do not.
Because
40 years ago.
I'm struggling with the fact that we've just allowed that to happen as long as they never went over their 20%. Well, there's many houses, whether they were even in that neighborhood, that came in for a variance for a property line variance or something for a second shed or a third shed or whatever, and it was. I mean, I've been here almost 15 years, and this is the first we've had somebody come in front of us for this. We've always let multiple dwellings go, multiple accessory structures.
Yeah, which to me would
So
make
I'm
sense.
not sure where, I tried looking back in some of the regulations, and I don't know when that one went in.
Yeah, I did not research that, but, it seemed that in this case, they were sort of vested in it anyway, because they were granted 2 sheds and permits for 2 sheds. So, but that regulation does say that you can only have 1 accessory structure.
Yeah, I'm just curious
Which makes no
as to when
sense
it
to
went
me.
in.
As long as you're not going over the coverage, it shouldn't matter.
Well,
Might be something we change with our new regs.
now did you look to make sure they're not going over their coverage?
Oh, yes,
Because I'd hate to
absolutely.
I'd hate to
No.
grant a variance for this one.
No,
and then say, oh,
absolutely.
no, you need another variance.
Yeah,
you know?
they'll have an excess of over 50 square feet
Okay,
if this is granted.
okay.
Lori, just question, if this property hypothetically had a detached garage, is that detached garage considered an accessory building?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
Anything not attached to the house is an
yeah.
accessory.
The only thing that's not considered accessory is the pool, ironically.
Interesting.
And that's only because it's an above ground.
Yeah, exactly.
Ironically, if it's an in-ground pool, it's considered an accessory structure,
Interesting.
and above ground is not.
Commissioner, Chairman, or Lori, if hypothetically speaking, they wanted to add on that same footprint to the existing building, accessory building, then that would just be considered one building, correct?
That is correct. They
Correct.
wouldn't be here.
Okay.
Any other questions?
That was going to be my questions.
You're welcome.
Chairman?
Have you, yes.
Just, sir, just, I noticed the placement's different than what you had your old shed in. Is there a reason for that? Just more out of curiosity? You have it marked as on the side property versus the back?
It's larger. The original one was 8 by 10, and this one will be, if it's approved, will be 10 by 18. So it's longer, and we have a grapevine that was we took from your grandfather that we kept back there, and we don't want to move that. So if we dug it out of the ground when he passed away, and it's sizable. It's probably but it's right there. So and it's not level there on the other side there. It's kind of level right there, and it would be. We're hoping to get with the double doors for the big equipment to come in and out, because I don't know. Snow blower, it's a 30-inch. It's got a 30-inch shovel on it. It's big stuff, and you need a ramp, and that location would be would be best for us. And you know, and we're at the point now where you can't climb over the bikes to get to a lawnmower, or vice versa. You need, it's like it's dangerous, it's hazardous. And we don't, and the stairs to the hatchway, they just won't work for us anymore, to be honest with you. When they're wet, they're slippery, and the patio furniture that they make today is heavy.
And Lori, this meets the side setback requirements for this non-conforming, correct?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Just one last question, sir. When did you when did you move into your home, or when did you buy it?
We
70s.
we bought it in the
70,
71,
maybe 78.
Okay. All right, thanks. Thank you.
78. You had the pool when
There.
we purchased it, but it was only the pool I recall that was in the yard, right? I think so. Yeah, it was just the pool. And we almost didn't buy the house because it had a pool. But I mean, it's like, but we got used to it, and so 40-something years later, we still have the pool. We love it, and we didn't think so at the time, but because we love the house, and
And
we
the
have
neighborhood,
in the neighborhood.
and Parkman School.
And the other thing, if I may say, we have a one-car garage, and the garage that was built is an 8-foot garage. You can barely put a car in there, so you can't put any maintenance equipment or anything. You can't put anything in it.
Can't put anything
You
like
can't
on
even
the
open the
sides.
doors really fully. You have to kind of like squeeze out. And you can't, it just barely fits if you don't have a,
And my car is the only one could go in there.
Right.
And it's small,
and it's small.
a Corolla, so.
One last, Lori, again, just to clarify, and we don't know when the town of Enfield changed the zoning, the regulations concerning something like this.
I honestly do not. And it seems that he was apparently granted 2 sheds permit, so, but as I said, this one's changing in size and location.
Anyone else? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. You can have a seat. And I don't see anybody in the audience wishing to speak in favor or against, but I'll offer it if there's anybody wishing to speak in favor or against. Hearing none, do I have a motion to close the hearing?
Motion to close the hearing?
Made by Mr. Kwasnicki, second by Mr. Stroni. Roll call, please.
Mr. Chairman, was Mr. Kwasnicki seated on this? Should he be making the motion?
Correct.
Actually, no, you're right.
Great catch. I was
You're right.
just
So
testing you.
Mr. Stroni made the motion. And I need a second.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Masterbirdy.
Okay.
Now you can. do
Now I'll
roll
read
call.
it. I'll stay in order this time. Maurice LaRosa?
Yes.
Andrew Urbanowitz? Yes. Charlie Masterbirdy?
Yes.
Catherine Ploffer? Rich Stroni?
Yes.
Discussion.
Well, I believe since he had 2 before, I think it's only fair that we give him this one.
Okay.
Am I allowed to comment when we're?
Nope.
Okay, good.
Sorry.
Good.
Anything, Mr. Stroni?
I struggle with this one only because of the rules of the variance, providing the variance itself. That's where I'm struggling with this one.
I hear you.
Given that the time that these folks have lived in this property preceding the R33 regulations, that may mitigate some of the current variance rules that we have to follow. So I'm struggling with that one, to be honest.
Okay.
But again, they've been there, they had the 2 sheds well before that new variance came into play. So,
Okay. Got anything?
Well, kind of feeling the same sort of, kind of struggle with this. I mean, in the spirit of the varying it, should we vary it? I don't know. There are viable alternatives, and that's the part that bothers me. You could add on to the structure, or you could rebuild where the previously permitted structure which would be a non-conforming use that you're allowed. So there are other options. So I'm having a hard time finding the hardship with it, but I do sympathize with their situation for sure.
Miss Kathy?
I see no reason not to give it to them, only because, like we said, they had 2 before. I know what it's like. I struggle with where to store things myself. I have 1 structure on my property, and I understand their plight. So,
Okay.
they are small lots over there.
They are. I understand both sides of it. When I read that hardship notice, and that's why I read it each time, a variance can be granted where such a variance will not affect the overall purpose of the zoning ordinance and where strict interpretation of the ordinance will result in a hardship. A hardship exists where the zoning ordinance uniquely affects a parcel of land differently from other parcels, and where use of the property or reasonable use of the property of the land would be impossible without the variance. In keeping with the harmony of the area would be that he should be allowed to have a second shed. He's always had two, and most of the building lots there were big enough where they're not coming in front of us for a set, Andrew, you and I have been here almost 15 years. This is the first one of these we've had come in front of us.
Yes, it
You know?
is, yeah.
So it is a unique thing. There are options though, and that is going to be a struggle. But I don't know that granting a variance will hinder anything in the neighborhood or, go against the strict interpretation of the rules either.
Well, I mean, you kind of have to ask the question, though, what is the purpose of having the regulation?
Correct.
If it's going to be varied because we want to or we want to help somebody versus because, there are other options. The hardship would be maybe financial. I could see that, but there are options to attach to the existing structure or replace the structure that was torn down. And that's the hardship. That's the struggle I have with this. Is there are options that would work within the regulation.
Mr. Chairman, I think you missed Commissioner Masterberry.
I think he mentioned that where he took the old one down, it'd be a little tougher to rebuild in that spot. It sounds like this is a much clearer, easier spot for him to
It would
get
be
equipment.
bigger. It would be bigger or difficult for him to build bigger because of the vine.
Correct.
Not that he couldn't build the same size. It would just be harder for him to build bigger.
And then I think even if he added on to the other structure that was there, it would still make it more difficult for him to get to put
I'm reading
it
that.
out easier than where he placed this. And the part I have a problem with is that law didn't exist prior to when we bought that house. And that's why they had the two sheds. So
Right.
I'm not saying it should be grandfathered in, but I think he should have a little more input.
Did you have something, Lori?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I was rereading this, and Ben and I are both looking at it. It was like, let me read it to you. It says, this is for non-conforming lots. Only one single-family dwelling and accessory buildings, plural, may be erected on a non-conforming lot located in a residential zone, except as stated below, provided all other requirements of the bulk standards of these regulations are complied with. Now, I've been told over and over that only one accessory structure is permitted, but I disagree that that's the way it is. I believe, actually, reading this, that you could have more than one. So we may be here in error, actually.
Well, the way you're reading it to us right there, it tells me that he's allowed to have one dwelling along with accessory structures.
Accessory structures,
That is the
plural.
way we've always done it.
Right.
Yeah,
So that's why I'm
buildings.
surprised that
Accessory
we're here.
buildings.
Because I thought that maybe somewhere got changed and now there's just one structure.
So, with that said, I actually believe that they shouldn't even be here.
Then you can withdraw the application, and that's the way we've always done it.
So maybe it was my misinterpretation,
never-
and that might be, but I had heard this over again, that you only have one accessory structure on a non-conforming lot, so. But as I'm reading this, that is incorrect.
Let us we can solve this very easily. We can make a motion to deny without prejudice
Right.
and close the hearing that way. And that way they can go back to them and deal with it that way, and
Yeah.
it doesn't have anything to do with us.
Right, yeah.
So do I have a motion to approve?
Mr. Chairman, it would probably be better if the applicant were just requesting for a
That's
withdrawal.
fine if you want to do it that way.
So, and we'll work with you after this, because I'm reading through this and it's not right. And I can't sit here and say that it isn't, so
So do we need them to come up and say that they
if they
want to
could withdraw their
draw
application,
the application?
and you could accept that without prejudice.
Okay. Do you understand what we're talking about?
Yes,
They're going to work with you.
Yes.
All you need to do at this point is withdraw your application.
yes, I understand. We understand.
Okay.
So go ahead.
We'd like to withdraw our application.
Okay, and we will, do I have a motion to accept the withdrawing of the application?
So moved.
Made
Second.
by Kathy, seconded by Rich. Roll call, please.
Maurice LaRosa,
Yes.
Andrew Urbanowitz, yes. Charlie Mastaberti,
Yes.
Catherine Plopper,
Yes.
Richard Streiney.
Yes.
Okay, approved. So get in touch with the office and they'll take you through the steps on what you need to go through.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
And my apologies for
Thank
that,
you. Thank you.
for putting all of you through this.
That's right.
It was educational.
Thank you.
Yep, have a good
But,
night.
and that's the way it should be. It shouldn't, you shouldn't,
Keep enjoying your property.
I think that's the way we've always read it.
It's always been the way it
So
was.
that's why I wasn't understanding why if it got changed with,
that is, thank you. So my apologies for that. So I wrote the memo, so
I assumed that was how it was, and when you.
it didn't make sense to me when
all
I
did.
kept hearing you can only have one. I was like, that doesn't make sense, but, and now
It's a
I'm,
good catch on the language.
yeah. So that one S makes a huge difference.
Because we've been doing
So-
it that way for, like, as long as Andrew and I have been on the board.
Okay. So-
We've never had somebody come in front of
Good
us
night,
for a
thank
second
you.
shed.
well, if they came with a second shed or a third shed, it was because they were over
Lot coverage,
coverage. It was a
right.
lot
Yeah.
coverage issue. It wasn't,
Right. So.
I'll take the
I'm
blame on
glad
this
you guys
one.
were
I wrote it, I read it.
rereading it and rereading it while we were going through everything. Because I believe that's the right way to handle it.
Yeah, no, so, my bad.
Approval of the minutes for September. Have we all had a chance to read the minutes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes from September 27th.
Made by Rich,
I said.
seconded by Mr. Masterberti. Roll call, please.
Maurice LaRosa.
Yes.
Andrew Urbanowitz, yes. Charlie Mastaberti.
Yes.
Rob Kwasnicki,
Yes.
Catherine Plopper,
Yes.
Rich Streiney.
Yes.
Okay. Correspondent staff reports.
I do have, so regarding minutes, we are changing our procedure with all of the Land Use Commission minutes. You're going to be given the minutes and you make amendments or modifications, but we're not going to have anybody sign them anymore because we actually have to file them as soon as we get them. We've been doing double filing. So if somebody starts researching the minutes for any given time, they will just have to be known that they have to check the next scheduled meeting minutes to see if there were any modifications.
Okay.
So it's going to streamline things and make a lot less paperwork for the town clerk.
Okay.
So any changes don't get attached to the original, they're attached to the meeting where it was
Right.
modified.
So, and we're thinking, maybe we just make that, maybe that will be in the bottom of all the minutes or something. We're trying to work out the procedure right now, but, just a note saying if, check the next meeting for any modifications.
Please check next month's meeting minutes for
Yeah,
any
changes.
changes.
because otherwise we're actually double filing. So and you can't, once it's filed, you can't take it out of the clerks. So it's just too much paper and it's not needed. And that's apparently how most of the towns are doing it, so.
Okay. All right, and we have no legal notices or anything like that, right?
Do we have any applications, new ZBA applications?
We have a new old business.
No, I don't think we do, yeah. I don't think we have any new applications, so,
Okay.
but, you know, that's, we'll just see. So,
Okay. So the last thing is number 12, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Don't need one.
Good deal.
my apologies again for.